Everyone, I'm Ajit Khan, and in this tutorial we are going to see how to check AWS resource limit and its current usage. So for this we will be using a tool, a command line tool, AWS limit checker. So let's see what it is and how it works. I have written a small blog post regarding the same. So here you can see how to install it, configure it, and do some uh, do some try check your current limits and its usage and similar stuff. So let's start. So basically, as I told you, AWS limit checker is a command line tool to check AWS resource limit and its current usage. So far it have the following features. It checks current AWS resource usage against AWS service limits. That means the limit that is there, and the amount of usage you have already taken from it. So it also shows the current usage. It overrides default service limit. So suppose any resource have limit say 50. Say your elastic IP limit is 50. So and if you have got it increased to say 100, then it will show the limit as 100 rather than 50. So it also compares current usage to limits, written information about the limits that exceeds thresholds. So you can define your threshold as define custom thresholds per limit. That is also possible. So it have all these kind of feature, and it also support the AWS region explicitly, and security token service is also there. For those who don't know about STS, it is a service from AWS which provides temporary or limited privilege credentials to be used. Okay, so the requirement you have to set before using it is you should have Python 2.6 to through 3.5, and you should have Python virtual environment and PIP, and you should also have Boto, and the version should be greater than or equals to 1.2.3. So you need to create a virtual environment, say give it a name limit checker. So for now I have already created it. So and then you need to activate it. So since I have already created it, let me just activate it. Then you need to do pip install AWS limit checker. I have already installed it, although we can try it again. So it is already there, requirements already satisfied. So since it is going to access your AWS, so it needs certain credentials so that it can read the information and give it back to you. So the credential it is going to use it from the credentials files or the config file inside .aws directory. So if you set up Boto, so the credential are generally being set in this file. So you can set it there, and the permission that uh, the credential would belong to a particular user, and that user should have enough permission to access the information and retrieve it. So suppose if you don't know what kind of permission you need to set, then you can simply run the command AWS limit checker IAM policy. This will return a policy which you can attach to the particular user, the user of which your the credentials you are being using. So it will return a IAM policy. You can use it directly. Now let's see what all options are available. So first of all, the very first option is --help. So basically this will show all the options that are available that can be used. So it have many options: -h for help, -s for list services, -l for list limit, and so on. So we will not be exploring all of them here, although you can try it out on your own. Let's go ahead and try some of them. So if you want to list supported services, like all the resources which can be whose limit can be checked from net, can be checked by this AWS limit checker -s. So it provides information regarding all these auto scaling, cloud formation, EBS, EC2, and so on. So it can provide the limit and its usage for all these services. Now let's list all the default limits. So default limits are those which are being given by AWS. Say for example, Elastic IP limit is given by AWS is 50, then that would be default limit. If you got it increased to 100, then 100 is your increased limit, not the default one. So if you have that limit increased, and if you run this command list default, then it will return 50 only. So let's try this out. So it has given us all the default limit. Auto scaling groups are 20 by default. Cloud formation stacks are 200. Active snapshot could be 10,000, and so on. So you have enough. Although you can use your custom commands as well. Say you want to grab all the VPC information. So if you run it, you will get the VPC limits. So you can alter this according to your requirement. So it has given us all the VPC related limits. Let's go on. So these are the default limits. If you want to check your actual limits, then you can simply do AWS limit checker -l. So it has given us the limit, and it must be having certain increased limits rather than the default one. So you can see your actual current limit by this option -l. And if you want to check your usage, then you can simply run AWS limit checker -u. It's taking a bit of time because it's actually analyzing your usage. So it's actually a useful tool. So you can set up some custom script which will use this command line tool, and will manipulate the results, and according to your custom threshold you can set some alerts that you have reached the threshold, so it will inform you on Slack or email, or like on any channel you want to. So it could be quite useful. It's taking a bit of time. Okay, so we have got it. Results are here, so it actually shows the usage. So like we are not using any on-demand instances, We are using one c3.x large on demand instance and so on. So these are the some options and some example usage. And to know more about the options and the examples, you can actually read the documentation here on the read the docs. So here you have all kinds of uh, all the versions, all the modules, and all kinds of example you can found here. So that is, thanks for watching.